Welcome to the deep dive. You know, there's this really strong belief, isn't there? That if you want to succeed, truly succeed, you've got to be loud.
Hmm.
You have to be out there, always visible, networking constantly, always on. It's like, it's the default setting for success these days.
It really is. It's almost taken as fact.
But what if I told you that maybe true success, like the kind that lasts and feels really stable, satisfying deep down, what if that actually comes from the opposite?
It sounds completely backwards,
Weird.
doesn't it?
Uh,
But it's exactly what our research for this deep dive kept pointing towards. It's quite compelling, actually.
all right.
We've been digging through all sorts of material studies, wisdom traditions, looking at behavioral insights, and they consistently push back against that loud and proud idea of success.
So today we're going to take a deep dive into this. Well, this often underestimated power, the power of being intentional, taking thoughtful action, having that strong inner focus.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's easy to think being quiet means you get overlooked, or maybe holding back somehow limits your impact.
That's the common fear, I think.
But what we found, digging into the data and the stories, is this profound strength in people who operate differently. They're not the ones shouting from the rooftops, you know?
Exactly. And we're not just listing four principles here. We're sort of tracing the path of these quiet masters, that's what we started calling them, individuals who achieve really significant, unshakable success.
Not by making noise, but by
Mhm.
cultivating this inner strength that, yeah, it just radiates outward eventually.
Yeah, and you'll see how each of these principles we're discussing, they actually build on each other. They form a kind of roadmap to lasting impact.
Our mission today, in this deep dive, is really to shine a light on four maybe surprising principles. They show how people who prioritize their inner wisdom, who set clear goals for themselves,
Not for others.
right, and who build meaningful, intentional connections, not just collecting contacts, and who practice this silent, consistent action. They often achieve success that isn't just big, it's stable, it's deeply rooted, enduring.
So get ready, because this might really make you rethink what it actually means to be powerful, to be impactful in the world. Okay, let's dive in. Principle number one, the power of thoughtful speech. Using your brain more than your mouth.
Okay, so this is fascinating. Right at the foundation, our research consistently highlights this critical split, a real divergence between people who genuinely think before they speak.
Pause. Consider.
Yes, and those who, well, speak more carelessly. They just let words spill out, often without much thought about the consequences.
And you're saying this isn't just about like communication style or being polite.
Not at all. It goes much deeper. Behavioral psychology shows it profoundly shapes their entire life path. It impacts everything, relationships, career, even their own sense of well-being.
It's way more than just manners then. I remember reading some of that neurolinguistic research you shared. It showed that even our unconscious word choices can trigger actual biochemical responses.
That's right, in both the speaker and the listener. It can literally alter decision-making processes without anyone realizing it consciously.
Wow. So our findings aren't just saying words have weight in a metaphorical sense. It's like there's a hidden force here, a scientific one almost.
Precisely. Words are potent. They're like these silent forces that can, often unconsciously, shift the entire course of a life, your own and others. It's a serious power we wield, often without full awareness.
Words have weight even when we don't realize it. Heavy stuff.
Indeed. And for those who choose their words carefully, we notice what we started calling a small distance, or a gap, a space between the initial emotion and the eventual expression.
Okay, a gap. Tell me more about that.
This space, this pause, it's absolutely crucial. It's in that brief moment that they stop accidental damage, they avoid blunders, they consciously choose not to destroy something, a relationship, an opportunity unintentionally.
So it's like an internal filter.
Yeah.
Check.
Exactly. It engages the prefrontal cortex, allows rational thought to sort of step in front of the impulsive emotional reaction. It's a moment of deliberate choice.
Okay. And the flip side, the cost of unfiltered communication. I mean, we've all seen it, haven't we?
Oh, absolutely. It's that familiar situation, isn't it? You meet someone who's incredibly articulate, they can really string words together beautifully,
And very eloquent.
but somehow the wisdom isn't quite there. Or maybe they talk constantly, just filling the air, but without much real substance behind it.
And that often leads to, well, shooting yourself in the foot, right?
Yeah.
Unintended self-sabotage.
Exactly. Where just one ill-considered remark, maybe a sarcastic comment that lands wrong, or even a thoughtless post online, it can unravel years of trust. It can damage professional relationships. It can silently close doors to future opportunities you never even knew were there. You're essentially creating problems for yourself. often without seeing the full ripple effect.
It's more than just being rude then.
Oh, much more. It signifies a life lived without real care for consequences. And over time, it becomes this corrosive habit. It just
Yeah.
eats away at relationships, at opportunities, at your own credibility. It's a slow decay, often happening beneath the surface.
And it gets even deeper, doesn't it? You mentioned how a single, thoughtless remark, even one that seems minor at the time, can just dismantle years of trust.
Years gone in an instant. Think about that.
It's terrifying, really. And even subtle things like constant sarcasm or cynicism, that can be the reason talented people just quietly leave a team.
Absolutely. They seek environments where they feel respected, emotionally safe,
Yeah.
and words of contempt or just a stark lack of empathy shown at a vulnerable moment that can crush someone's spirit.
Utterly devastating. And here's something that really stood out for me in the research: the boomerang effect.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
The data is surprisingly consistent on this. Words released without thought often come back to the speaker.
And not in a good way.
Not at all. Often in ways that are far more painful than they ever anticipated.
Yeah.
You put that negativity out there, carelessly,
Mm.
it comes back, often amplified.
So let's contrast that, the strength of deliberate expression. People who think first.
Our research shows they aren't necessarily talking all the time. They might be quieter overall.
Okay.
But, and this is key, every single word they choose to utter seems weighed, considered for its precise impact. There's a real intentionality behind their communication. It's a conscious choice.
So their goal isn't about winning an argument or just, getting something off their chest.
No, it's purpose-driven. They speak to foster understanding, to create positive change, not just emotional release.
And they master that art of strategic silence too, right? Knowing when just listening is the most powerful thing they can do.
Exactly. They choose to speak only when their words can genuinely create power, make a real difference. It's fascinating to observe how this plays out in practice.
And what are the outcomes of this deliberate approach?
Well, we find it consistently leads to greater trust from others, an almost effortless acceptance of their ideas sometimes, and this profound weight in their words that actually compels people to listen.
It's not just anecdotal then. There's something psychological happening.
Oh yes, it taps into principles like social proof and scarcity biases. When someone speaks less often, but with more apparent intent and substance.
Their words become more valuable.
Precisely. Like a scarce resource.
Right.
It signals credibility, authority, and naturally compels attention and trust. When they do speak, people know it's likely significant.
Okay, so this sounds great, but how do you actually cultivate this habit, this thoughtful pause? It sounds simple, but maybe not easy.
It takes practice, for sure. We found a very practical starting point, though. Just begin by noticing. Observe that immediate urge you feel to reply, that knee-jerk reaction.
Just notice it first, don't judge it, just see it.
Exactly. And then consciously encourage a pause. Just a few seconds. Maybe 2 or 3 seconds before you respond.
Okay. And what do you do in those few seconds?
You ask yourself some quick self-reflection questions. Things like, is what I'm about to say truly necessary right now? What positive outcome will it actually create? Or is this just my emotion talking? Is it just an outburst, a need to vent? That tiny space allows your rational brain to catch up with your emotional one.
It sounds so simple, just a couple of seconds, but I can see how that could be transformative.
It really is. And consistent practice of this small pause, it turns it into an effortless habit eventually. It becomes second nature, like a built-in filter.
And the result.
Sharper, more powerful communication, which leads, inevitably, to deeper, more meaningful relationships across all parts of your life, work, home, everywhere. Imagine the impact of just those few seconds, compounded over time.
I remember something similar early in my career. I was in this really high-pressure meeting, and a colleague made a comment that it stung immediately.
That gut reaction.
Totally. My first instinct was to snap back, just a sharp retort, put them in their place. But I remembered some advice like this, and I just paused, took a breath.
What did you do instead?
Instead of snapping, I rephrased my disagreement as a question, seeking clarification, and it completely changed the dynamic, diffused the tension. We ended up having a productive discussion, not a fight.
That's a perfect example. That pause created space for a better outcome.
That lesson really stuck with me. So, expert, how do we consciously break that cycle of immediate reaction? It feels so automatic sometimes.
That's a great question because it's more than just willpower, isn't it? It's like retraining a neural pathway.
Okay.
The key is recognizing that initial emotional surge. See it coming. Acknowledge it. Okay, I feel angry. or I feel defensive, and then consciously choose not to act on it immediately, just for that moment.
And does that choice get easier?
Yes, over time, with practice, that choice becomes easier, faster. The pause becomes more natural.
Now, there's a crucial distinction here, isn't there? Silence versus apathy. Some people worry, if I'm quiet, won't people think I don't care? That I'm reserved or indifferent?
It's a common misconception. But for those who genuinely practice thinking before speaking, silence isn't disengagement at all.
What is it then?
Our observations suggest it's a powerful active space. It's used for emotional regulation, calming the internal storm, and for crafting really high-quality responses.
So they're thinking, processing.
Exactly. They might not jump into every single topic, but when they do choose to speak, their words often genuinely shift perspectives. They're not quiet out of indifference, they're quiet out of intention. It's strategic engagement.
And the weight of their words again.
Precisely. They understand that weight, so they use them judiciously.
And in today's world, this feels even more critical with the digital amplification of words.
Oh, absolutely. The stakes are higher online, in many ways.
Right.
In the age of instant social media, every post, every comment, every quick video you share, it carries immense power, far more reach and permanence than a spoken word might have had in the past.
Yeah, it's out there forever, potentially.
Exactly. And we see countless examples where thoughtless typing, just firing off a comment in the heat of the moment, leads to emotional rants, hateful comments, damaging sarcasm, or just raw expressions of dissatisfaction online.
And what's the usual outcome?
Often, it's deleted posts or public apologies issued after the damage is done. But the painful truth, as you said, is that not all consequences can be erased online. Words, once they're out there, can be screenshotted, shared, recorded permanently.
Affecting reputations?
Opportunities, relationships, for years to come. That digital footprint can be surprisingly indelible.
So the contrast is people who think before they type.
Yes, they approach social media with a different kind of maturity. They don't just use it as a dumping ground for their frustrations. They see it as a space to potentially create value, to connect meaningfully, perhaps share thoughtful insights.
That difference, when you look for it, is really stark, isn't it?
It truly is. Let's make it even clearer with a real-life divergence. Picture two paths, side by side, showing this difference in communication style and action.
Okay. Case study 1.
Case study 1, the emotional reactor. Think about this person in a team meeting. They impulsively interrupt, they vent their frustrations quite freely, maybe use sarcasm as a default way to dismiss ideas they don't immediately like.
I know the type.
And maybe after a long day, they offload their personal stress onto their partner or family without much filter. They might fire off a scathing email when angry, or make a public jab on social media without a second thought.
And the results are pretty predictable, right?
Almost universally, yes. Constant team conflict, fractured personal relationships, a significantly damaged professional reputation over time. This person inadvertently becomes a source of tension, not strength.
And they often feel isolated or misunderstood themselves, ironically.
Because they haven't learned to manage how their internal state is externalized. Now, contrast this.
Okay, case study 2.
Case study 2, the thoughtful communicator. This person, when faced with an uncertain situation or maybe a tense discussion, often chooses silence initially. They use it to gather their thoughts.
They don't feel the need to fill the silence immediately.
No. They speak only when they feel it's the right moment. Perhaps they interject with just one well-timed, concise question that cleverly shifts the entire group's perspective.
Ah, powerful.
They use polite yet firm language, even when disagreeing, ensuring their point is heard but without alienating others. In their personal life, maybe they pause before responding to a difficult conversation with a loved one, choosing words designed to de-escalate rather than inflame.
And their results?
Remarkably different. They consistently gain credibility. They build deep trust with colleagues. And often, fascinatingly, they achieve faster career advancement than some of their more talkative but less substantial peers.
Because their impact is real. Their words carry that weight we talked about. When they speak, people actually lean in and listen.
It becomes clear then, doesn't it? Our personal communication habits aren't just private little quirks.
No, the research underscores how interconnected everything is. Every word we put out there ripples outwards. It impacts everyone, family, colleagues, the wider community.
Operating out of that unchecked habit, speaking without real thought for the consequences, it genuinely becomes a burden on the system around you.
It drains energy, creates friction.
Erodes psychological safety, absolutely. But intentional, cautious communication, that becomes a positive force It helps build things up, nurture relationships, strengthen communities. It contributes to personal and societal development.
So, wrapping up this first principle, someone who uses their brain more than their mouth isn't necessarily timid or shy.
Not at all. They simply understand that words are, fundamentally, a double-edged sword. Used wisely, with thought and care, they have incredible power to transform the world, build bridges, inspire change.
But used carelessly,
Even seemingly soft words can shatter someone's world, cause irreparable harm. When you truly grasp that power, that responsibility,
you'll choose silence more strategically.
yes, you'll choose silence when it's appropriate, and you'll choose to speak powerfully only when it truly matters. And that approach, our insights strongly suggest, leads to a much more stable, grounded life, rather than one that feels constantly adrift and chaotic.
Wow. Okay, so we've just explored the immense power of controlling what we put out into the world through intentional speech. But what about the internal guidance system? The filter that shapes our path even when we're silent?
That leads us perfectly into our second principle. The compass within, focusing on your own goals, not others' eyes.
This feels huge.
It is. Our research consistently points out something quite profound. Many people don't fail because they lack ability, or even because they don't have goals.
So why do they fail then?
Often they fail because they end up living their lives primarily to meet other people's expectations, rather than staying true to and pursuing their own authentic path.
It's a kind of silent sabotage.
Exactly. A slow, quiet erosion of the self, happening almost unnoticed.
And you're saying this starts early.
Very early, yes. From childhood, think about it, we're often conditioned to seek approval. First from parents, then teachers, then peers.
And now social media likes and comments.
Precisely. This can lead us to spend enormous amounts of emotional and mental energy just crafting an image that we think others desire,
Instead of,
instead of diligently building the life we truly want for ourselves. It's this constant outward focus that subtly siphons off our vital inner strength, leaving us feeling a little bit hollow sometimes.
and this isn't a minor issue, is it? Constantly viewing yourself through the lens of what you think others are judging.
That's exhausting just thinking about it.
It is, and it's a subtle trap that quietly, almost imperceptibly, eats away at your self-belief. Psychological studies on self-esteem are very clear. Basing your sense of worth on external validation is a recipe for constant insecurity. It's a drain.
And this external focus, it leads to what you call the paralysis of external focus. Can you unpack that a bit?
Yeah, it's when every single decision, big or small, gets bogged down in questions like, what will people think if I do this? Will they like it? Will they laugh at me if I try something new and fail?
Instead of asking the internal questions.
Right. Instead of asking, do I genuinely want to do this? Or is this actually important for my life, my goals? We end up prioritizing external validation over everything else.
And the consequence, it leads to hesitation, an inability to fully commit to anything, and ultimately, often, not reaching your true potential. And then comes the really damaging part.
What's that?
We mistakenly blame ourselves. We think, oh, I wasn't good enough, or I didn't have what it takes. When the real problem wasn't lack of ability, it was prioritizing all that external noise over our own internal guidance system.
It's a vicious cycle that keeps people stuck.
Completely stuck in indecision.
So what's the deep reason we value others' opinions so much, often more than our own? You said it's rarely just weakness.
No, it's rooted much deeper.
Yeah.
It often comes from that fundamental human desire we all share for love, for acceptance, for belonging.
Okay.
And from a young age, many of us internalize this belief, maybe implicitly, that we have to do well to be valued. We had to succeed to earn praise.
And mistakes.
Mistakes often lead to criticism or judgment, or maybe painful comparisons to others, and that triggers these deep-seated fears of rejection, of not being good enough.
And this cultivates that deep, maybe unconscious fear of criticism.
Exactly. The fear of hearing, you're not good enough, or that's not okay, or you shouldn't be doing that. It hits us right where we're vulnerable.
And you mentioned social media makes this worse.
Oh, exponentially. In an era where literally anyone can criticize you instantly, publicly, often anonymously, these fears become even more entrenched. It makes us feel like we have to achieve some impossible standard of good enough for others before we can even grant ourselves permission to trust our own instincts.
That's a heavy burden to carry around.
Offense.
So the more we live according to what we think others expect, the more disconnected we become from ourselves.
That's the alienation from self. Goals that once felt really exciting and full of power start to get clouded by that constant question. But what will others say?
Dreams start to fade.
Dreams that once burned brightly begin to dim because we worry they might look ridiculous or unrealistic to the people around us.
And all that energy.
We spend so much emotional energy just trying to avoid blame or manage perceptions instead of channeling that vital life force into actually building the life we genuinely believe in deep down. It's a profound misdirection of our most valuable resources, our time, our focus, our passion.
Okay, so this sounds quite bleak. How do we fight back? How do we reclaim our inner compass?
Our findings offer a really powerful path forward, and the very first step is acknowledging a truly liberating truth. You simply cannot control what other people think, say, or believe about you.
Their opinions aren't facts.
Exactly. Their perceptions are theirs. They are not your reality. Letting go of that need to control the uncontrollable is step one.
Okay, so what can we control?
You can control your own actions, your intentions, your goals. Focus intensely on those things.
And you recommend a daily practice?
Yes, quiet self-reflection, daily. Just ask yourself honestly, is what I'm doing today truly serving my life's purpose? Or is it mostly just for external validation for show? That daily check-in is crucial for staying aligned.
And cultivating inner silence.
Yes, maybe reduce the noise, less time scrolling, more time listening to your own heart, your own thoughts. Seek out environments and people who genuinely support your growth rather than constantly judging it. This is how you slowly, steadily rebuild that inner strength, allowing your authentic self to finally emerge.
You had a great analogy for this. The river.
Ah, yes, the river analogy. It's quite powerful. Think about a river. It just flows, doesn't it? Relentlessly. It goes through mountains, over cliffs as waterfalls, around sharp rocks, sometimes through thick mud.
It doesn't stop to argue.
Never. It never stops. Never argues with the obstacles. Never sits there questioning its path. It just keeps flowing. Why? Because its ultimate destination is the sea. That pull is stronger than any temporary obstacle.
Even when it hits the mud of failure or the rocks of insult.
It doesn't pause to defend itself or prove its worth. It simply continues its journey towards its destination.
So like the river, people with clear goals.
They don't stop. Even when they fall down, even when they face insults or criticism, even when they have to navigate the mud of failure or setbacks, they keep going.
Why?
Because they know their journey doesn't need constant external proof or validation. Simply reaching their destination, fulfilling their purpose, is enough. The journey itself, the progress, provides a quiet, unwavering resolve.
So what are the contrasting outcomes here? Living for others' eyes versus living from your inner compass?
Living for others' eyes, our insights show, leads to constant exhaustion, perpetual adjustment, always trying to fit in or measure up, a never-ending, draining need to be good enough, flawless, or keeping up with the latest trends.
It makes us forget we're human.
Exactly. We forget we're human, not robots designed to satisfy everyone all the time. It's a life built on shifting sand, constantly reacting to external winds.
Whereas those who choose their own path.
They might seem slower sometimes, they'd be less flashy, but they build this profound inner stability. They might fall, sure, but they get back up because they know why they're striving. Their purpose fuels them.
They learn from setbacks.
Yes, they learn resilience from setbacks,
Yeah.
they embrace imperfection as part of the process, and they come to understand that external criticism is often just a test of their own heart's resolve, not some definitive judgment on their life's worth. Their foundation is solid rock.
So the takeaway here is, when you feel yourself being swayed by what others think or say.
Look deeper. Look at your own goals again. Remind yourself why you started this journey. Where do you truly want to go? What are you willing to sacrifice for it?
And that inner voice.
The voice of your clear purpose, your inner compass, will eventually drown out that external noise, no matter how loud it seems sometimes, like that relentless river. Just keep moving towards your own sea, unburdened by outside expectations.
Okay, that's powerful. Aligning with your inner compass.
Yeah.
Now, how does that connect to the people we choose to have around us on that journey?
That brings us right to our third principle, intentional connections, not wasting time socializing often.
This one might ruffle some feathers. There's such a widespread belief, isn't there, that you need extensive socializing for growth, recognition, just a balanced life.
It's almost dogma in some circles. But our deep dive challenges that directly. It reveals that aimless, frequent socializing can actually be a silent trap.
A trap. How so?
It quietly drains your energy, consumes your precious time, and can subtly divert you from your true path, often without you even realizing it's happening.
You call it the current of social drift.
Yes. We've all felt that pull, haven't we? That subtle pressure to be constantly on socially, always available, always participating.
Fear of missing out, maybe?
Exactly. FOMO is a big driver. What we found fascinating in the research is how easily people can get swept into just constant social activities. Going to every party, feeling obligated to reply instantly to every chat message, joining every fleeting online conversation.
Just to avoid feeling different or left out.
Often, yes. And this consumes valuable time and energy in spaces that don't actually foster genuine progress or personal growth. It becomes like a social hamster wheel. Lots of motion, but not really going anywhere meaningful.
So it's crucial then to distinguish between socializing that serves a purpose and, well, just escapism.
Absolutely critical.
Huh.
While socializing can initially feel good, like relaxation or relationship building, if it becomes an aimless routine.
Like attending every single invitation, even if you're not really interested.
Yes, or engaging in conversations without genuine interest, or maybe staying in unfulfilling friend groups just because you're afraid of being alone. Our findings show that it's no longer empowering.
It becomes something else.
It becomes a way to mask or escape inner emptiness, maybe a lack of personal direction, or even just boredom. It's like using socializing as a short-term balm for a deeper issue that isn't being addressed.
And the detrimental impact. It's not just wasted time.
No, it goes deeper. This kind of aimless socializing doesn't actually replenish your spirit or expand your potential. In fact, it can deepen feelings of inadequacy or comparison. And crucially, it leaves you with no time or energy for the truly meaningful, life-building activities.
You mentioned opportunity cost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Think about it. Every hour spent in aimless, draining socializing is an hour you didn't spend working on that personal project you care about, or learning that new skill, or engaging in deep self-reflection, or even just getting proper rest.
So how do you tell the difference? How do you know if a social interaction is energizing or draining?
Our research points to a simple but effective litmus test. Pay attention to how you feel after the social activity.
Okay. What should I look for?
If you feel refreshed afterwards, maybe inspired, if you've gained new ideas or useful insights, that's a good sign. It indicates a growth-oriented social environment that's energizing.
And the opposite.
If you feel exhausted or bored, or like you constantly had to force yourself to participate or put on a mask, that's a clear signal that social interaction was likely consuming your energy rather than nourishing it.
And you also identified characteristics of toxic social circles.
Yes, be mindful of groups where the dominant themes are constant comparison, judgment, pointless arguments that go nowhere, or endless gossip about others.
Those sound draining just describing them.
They inevitably deplete your energy and make it incredibly difficult to pursue your own goals or even just maintain a positive mindset. You leave feeling worse, not better.
This really brings us back to that fundamental truth. Our time and energy are incredibly precious, and they are limited resources.
Absolutely. We have to become much more conscious about differentiating between time spent as an investment in our growth and well-being and time spent as a loss that just depletes us.
So strategic social investment, what does that look like?
It means deliberately choosing interactions that align with your core values, seeking out conversations that are constructive, that challenge you in a good way, and prioritizing spending time with individuals who are genuinely supportive and non-judgmental.
Quality over quantity.
Definitely. These connections, even if they're less frequent, become incredibly powerful. They form a true support system that actually fuels your journey.
And the cost of the opposite, unauthentic socializing.
Engaging in circles where you feel you have to put on a facade, speak insincerely, or maybe stay quiet out of fear of being judged or becoming an outsider, that's a costly trade. You're trading your vital life energy for a very short-term, superficial comfort. It ultimately leads to a long-term loss of self.
This leads naturally to the idea of embracing solitude, doesn't it? Which some people might equate with loneliness.
It's often misunderstood, yes. But our findings clarify that choosing more time alone isn't necessarily about isolating yourself from the world. It's more about intentionally dedicating more time to your inner self, your inner world.
So solitude isn't loneliness.
Not at all. Solitude, chosen intentionally, provides this incredibly valuable, almost sacred space. Is where you can listen more clearly to your own heart, your intuition, where you can think deeply without constant interruption.
Organize your thoughts, process emotions.
Exactly. And systematically plan your next steps with real clarity. It's a space for consolidation and growth.
And you mentioned many successful people actually prioritize this.
Yes, our studies of historical figures and contemporary high achievers show that many didn't reach greatness through relentless networking. They often achieved breakthroughs by deliberately withdrawing into their quiet spaces, their labs, studios, studies, to focus intensely on their work.
That solitude fuels focus.
It does. And time alone also helps solidify your goals. It makes it easier to see if you're starting to deviate from your intended path. In those overly noisy, constantly stimulating social environments, it's so easy to forget your own goals, your own dreams, your own priorities.
You get caught up in others' lives.
Precisely. You become preoccupied with others' dramas, successes, or failures, instead of focusing on building your own life.
So the goal isn't no socializing, but rather cultivating quality relationships, not just quantity.
Exactly. Instead of just frequent, aimless meetings or hangouts, shift towards higher quality interactions. Things like in-depth discussions where you genuinely share perspectives, sincere conversations rather than just surface-level entertainment activities.
And connection doesn't always require physical presence.
Not at all. You can foster deep relationships through thoughtful, supportive messages, acknowledging important occasions in someone's life, genuine expressions of care and support even from afar.
So the true measure of a relationship.
It isn't how often you meet up. It's the depth of understanding between you, the sincerity, the feeling that you can count on each other, that you're truly present for each other in significant moments. It's the quality of the connection, not the frequency of the contact.
We found some compelling real-world examples of this misguided social focus, didn't we? The corporate collapse example was striking.
Yes. Think about that historical case of a large, once dominant company. The executives became utterly obsessed with external image building, constant networking with investors, schmoozing the media.
Always at conferences, giving speeches, shaking hands, looking good on the outside.
Exactly. But in doing so, they tragically, fatally ignored crucial internal warnings. Red flags are being raised by engineers, by mid-level managers.
About what?
About declining product quality, rising employee dissatisfaction, fundamental operational problems. But their voices were drowned out because the leadership's focus was entirely external, pleasing the market, managing perception.
So by the time the problems became undeniable,
Visible through plummeting stock prices, public scandals, it was far too late. Irreversible damage had been done. All that valuable time and energy had been spent pleasing outsiders instead of listening to the people within the system who actually understood the foundational issues.
a tragic illustration of external focus leading to internal rot.
Precisely. And then there's the more common modern scenario we see everywhere. Teenagers, maybe even adults, addicted to social media.
Driven by that intense fear of missing out. FOMO.
Yes. They spend vast amounts of time just scrolling endlessly, joining countless online groups, engaging in these very fleeting, superficial digital interactions.
But how does it make them feel?
Our research, and frankly, many psychological studies, indicate they often feel increasingly empty, anxious, and deeply confused about their own identities.
Because the time isn't spent on self-discovery.
Exactly. Time that should be spent figuring out who they are, developing skills, forming genuine, deep connections. It gets consumed by chasing the highlight reels of others' lives. It leads to this profound lack of self-knowledge and personal purpose.
So the conclusion for this section seems clear.
Yes, not all social engagement is equally valuable. And importantly, not all silence or solitude is sorrowful or lonely.
Those who wisely choose to step away from the chaotic, draining circles.
To deliberately focus on building their own lives, their own skills, their own inner world, they tend to grow more securely. They're rooted in their own purpose.
They don't fall into that trap of constant comparison.
No, because they're busy creating their own reality. They move at their own pace, guided by their inner compass, and they develop a deep understanding of the profound value of every moment they dedicate to their own dreams and growth.
We've explored the wisdom of thoughtful speech, the power of an inner compass, and the importance of intentional connections. But how does all this translate into actual, tangible progress? How do we build that lasting success without needing constant applause?
That brings us to our fourth and final principle, which ties everything together. The quiet revolution, doing everything quietly, but changing life effectively.
The quiet revolution, I like that.
Our deep dive into human achievement across many fields consistently points to silent action as one of humanity's most potent forces.
Silent action, define that for us.
It means working towards your goals without needing to announce it, without rushing to show off every little step, without constantly seeking praise or external validation along the way.
What drives it then, if not external pressure?
It's driven by strong internal motivation, by clear personal goals, by unwavering self-discipline, not by the need for external applause or recognition.
And what's the benefit of working quietly like that?
Well, when you don't feel the need to constantly announce your efforts, You stop worrying about external interest or judgment. Are people watching? What will they think? That just fades away.
So all your energy.
All your focus, all your energy can be directed towards the actual work itself. You're free from the draining demands of image building or having to explain projects that are still in progress.
That sounds liberating.
It allows for truly profound, uninterrupted focus. And the beautiful thing is, quiet action allows the results themselves to become the spokesperson.
Let the results speak for themselves.
Exactly. It respects the natural process of time, the time needed for growth and development, without feeling that pressure to rush the unveiling just for show.
And true quality.
True quality of change, our findings suggest, is measured by the consistency of your effort, the depth of your work, the sincerity of your process, not by the volume of fleeting external applause you receive along the way.
Can you give us an example? You mentioned the silent transformation.
Yes, consider this simple but powerful illustration. Imagine someone decides they want to get healthier. They start exercising quietly every morning, maybe just 15-20 minutes.
But crucially, no posts on social media,
Yeah.
no telling everyone at work.
None. They just do it. Consistently. Initially, of course, they're completely unnoticed. No one knows about this new routine.
Okay, but then what happens?
After, say, 3 months of this quiet, consistent effort, something profound starts to become visible. Their body is actually stronger. Their physique has subtly but noticeably changed. Their inner energy, their vitality, has significantly increased.
And then others start to notice.
Then others begin to notice them. People might start asking, wow, you look great. What have you been doing?
And the crucial point here.
The crucial point is why they succeeded. They succeeded because they didn't wait for external cheers or public accountability to get started or keep going. They believed in the process and in themselves first. Their own inner conviction drove them, not the desire for external validation.
That makes sense. And this leads to some enduring benefits of achieving things without fanfare.
Absolutely. First, achieving goals without constantly showing off means you remain largely unaffected by fluctuating outside opinions, whether they're positive or negative. Your progress isn't dependent on their commentary.
You're immune to the noise.
Largely, yes. Second, there's no pressure to rush things just because you fear being forgotten or feel you need quick visibility. You operate on your own internal timeline, dictated by the work itself.
And it liberates you from needing validation.
Completely. Not waiting for praise detaches you from that need for external affirmation, which, as we've discussed, is often fickle and fleeting anyway. True, lasting pride comes from deep within, from the quiet knowledge that you genuinely accomplished something meaningful for yourself.
And the success itself is more stable.
Yes, most importantly, success achieved without constant public announcement is inherently more stable. Why? Because it wasn't built for others' eyes. It was built from a genuine desire for self-improvement, for mastery, for internal growth. It has stronger foundations.
Now, you drew a vital distinction here. Quiet action is not the same as shyness or fear of failure.
Critically important distinction. They are profoundly different motivations, leading to vastly different outcomes.
So someone driven by fear of failure.
Those who fear failure often don't act at all. Or if they do act, it's half-heartedly.
Yeah.
They might use quietness not as a strategy for focus, but as a shield, a way to hide from potential judgment if things don't work out.
So they remain trapped.
Trapped in indecision, anxiety, and ultimately regret for not trying.
Okay. And conversely, those who act quietly with purpose.
They aren't hiding. They actively choose silence as a strategic tool. They use it to focus intently, to build a solid foundation, to master the fundamentals before making any noise or seeking attention.
So their quietness is goal-driven.
Exactly. It's strategic, deliberate, and aimed at achieving a specific outcome. They move forward, step by step, even when unseen, because they know they're constantly getting closer to their goals. It's quiet confidence in action.
So how can you tell the difference in yourself? How do you recognize if you're making true, quiet progress or just hiding out of fear?
You know you're acting authentically towards a goal and not just hiding when your days have a sense of direction, when you are consistently performing intentional actions, even small ones, related to that goal.
And when you can see your own internal development.
Yes, even if no one else can yet. You feel yourself learning, growing, changing from the inside out.
These might be subtle shifts.
Very subtle sometimes. For instance, maybe time you previously spent mindlessly scrolling through your phone now becomes dedicated time for reading a book relevant to your goal, or meditating, or practicing a specific skill.
Or time wasted in repetitive, anxious thoughts.
Transforms into focused time for planning your next step, or engaging in deliberate practice. These changes might seem tiny, insignificant to an outsider, but, deep down that you are genuinely transforming yourself.
And that inner validation becomes the fuel.
It becomes paramount. It's incredibly motivating and sustainable in a way external praise rarely is.
You shared a powerful case study about this, the silent academic breakthrough.
Yes, a really moving story. It was about a young student who was repeatedly failing exams in a particularly challenging subject. He was really struggling.
But he didn't vent online, didn't complain constantly.
No, he kept his struggles private. Instead, he quietly went back to the drawing board. He changed his study methods completely. He practiced diligently at home, often late into the night when no one was watching.
What kind of changes did he make?
His process involved things like breaking down complex problems into much smaller, manageable parts. He actively sought out alternative explanations from different textbooks, online tutorials. And crucially, he meticulously reviewed every single mistake he made until he understood it, all in solitude.
And the result?
A year later, much to the surprise of many who knew about his earlier struggles, he wasn't just passing. He was admitted to a top university program in that very subject.
Wow.
No one saw the late-night struggles, the moments of frustration, the silent tears maybe, or the sheer countless hours of focused, deliberate effort.
But he knew what he'd overcome.
And that internal knowing.
That deep satisfaction of self-mastery, that was enough. It propelled him further than anyone, perhaps even himself initially, could have imagined. His unseen effort culminated in visible, undeniable success.
So how do we cultivate this habit of quiet action in our own lives? What are the practical steps? We suggest starting, again, with clear personal goals. Know what you're aiming for. Then, dedicate disciplined time to working towards them, even if it's just 15 or 30 minutes consistently each day.
And track your progress.
Yes, document your progress privately, daily if possible, even if it's just noting down a tiny 1% improvement or one small action taken. That consistency is key. It builds momentum almost invisibly.
And manage your self-talk.
Crucial. Practice positive self-talk and cultivate patience. Remind yourself, reassure yourself that there's no need to share your progress prematurely. Trust that the results will speak for themselves when the time is right.
And celebrate the small wins. Forgive the slips.
Absolutely. Celebrate those small victories internally. Acknowledge your own effort. And importantly, forgive yourself for occasional slips or setbacks. Just get back to the effort tomorrow without needing external praise to motivate you or external criticism to derail you. This builds true self-reliance.
The exercise analogy you used really drove this home for me. Can you walk us through that again?
Sure. Imagine starting with just 15 minutes of exercise daily, quietly, consistently. In the first month, maybe you only lose 1 kilogram, maybe less.
Not much to brag about, right? Easy to get discouraged.
Exactly. You might be tempted to stop because the external results aren't immediately dramatic or Instagram-worthy.
But if you stick with it, quietly.
By month 6, something truly significant has happened internally and externally. Maybe you've lost 8 kilograms. But more importantly, your stamina has dramatically increased. Your breathing feels clearer. Your mood is consistently better.
Maybe health markers improve.
Your blood pressure and blood sugar might have improved significantly. You're sleeping deeper, more soundly. Your overall physical health has jumped, say, from 40% to 80% of its potential.
And all of this happened
Without a single social media post, unseen by most others. But your body doesn't lie. And that inner feeling, that profound sense of well-being, strength, vitality, and quiet accomplishment that is the true, most meaningful praise.
That internal validation is the real engine.
It's the driving force that sustains genuine, long-term transformation, long after any external applause would have faded.
And finally, you compared quiet action to a seed. The seed analogy.
Yes, think of a humble seed. On the surface, it seems almost worthless, doesn't it? Small, maybe colorless, utterly silent. It never wastes any energy trying to explain its potential or prove its future worth to the world.
It just waits.
It simply waits, patiently, for the right conditions to arrive, the rain, the sunlight, the fertile soil. It trusts the process.
And when the time comes.
It sprouts, silently at first.
Ah.
Then it grows steadily into a mighty tree, eventually providing shade, perhaps bearing fruit, becoming this incredible symbol of perseverance, resilience, and life, all without ever uttering a single word about its journey. Its very existence speaks volumes.
So similarly, people who quietly transform themselves.
They don't need to announce their efforts constantly. When their growth is complete, when their tree is fully formed through consistent quiet work, everyone will witness it. Their presence, their capabilities, their undeniable results will speak volumes and impact far louder and more lasting than any shout they could have made along the way.
So the final message for this section is,
Therefore, don't fear the silence. Don't fear starting something alone. Don't fear being unseen today. If you have a clear goal that resonates deeply within you, if you act consistently towards it, and if you cultivate the patience to trust the process, your results will eventually speak loudly enough for the entire world to hear, long after you've stopped feeling any need to shout.
wow, what a powerful deep dive that was. We've really uncovered these profound, often counterintuitive, quiet principles that seem to drive true, lasting success.
hmm When we explored the strategic power of thinking before you speak, really understanding the weight of your words.
And the incredible liberation that comes from focusing intensely on your own goals, guided by that inner compass, not by external eyes.
Then, the wisdom of cultivating intentional, meaningful connections, quality over quantity investing energy, where it truly nourishes you.
And finally, the undeniable transformative impact of silent, consistent action, letting your results become your loudest statement.
So as we wrap up, the question becomes, what does this deep dive mean for you listening right now?
Yeah, what's the personal takeaway? Perhaps it's just a simple reminder to pause. Take those few crucial seconds before you speak or type, allowing wisdom to guide your words, not just reaction.
Or maybe it's a stronger call to recenter, to really ask yourself, what are my deepest, most authentic aspirations? Am I pursuing them, or am I still chasing external approval?
It could also be about taking a closer look at your relationships. Are you choosing quality over quantity? Are you investing your precious social energy in connections that truly lift you up and support your growth?
Or, perhaps most profoundly, it's about embracing the transformative power of working quietly, trusting the process, allowing your consistent, unseen efforts to build towards something so impactful that it eventually speaks for itself.
So, as you go about your day-to-day, maybe consider this final provocative thought. What one small, quiet action can you commit to starting today? Something maybe no one else will even notice at first.
But an action that, practiced consistently over time, will build and compound, eventually becoming so impactful that it speaks volumes without you ever having to say a single word about it.
Until next time on The Deep Dive, keep digging deeper.